From a distance, it looks like a stately mansion from the 1800s. A place where rich people might have lived, a life of luxury. This 1892 structure is a place where you can, in fact, learn Scott County's rich history. You can also research your family tree. But it also holds a very special distinction as being haunted. They even offer ghost tours. Yep, this is going to be an interesting field trip for both of us. For starters, the outside of the building is a little deceiving. Despite its grand exterior, no rich people ever lived here. This was actually Scott County's poor farm. Before the days of Social Security and welfare, if you ran out of money, you might end up here. The house was separated into two parts. In the front was where the superintendent and his family stayed. The residents lived in the back. The farm sat on 180 acres, and everyone had a job to do to put food on the table. The museum has handicap accessible ramps and an elevator, so anyone can visit. Let's go inside and see what this museum is all about. On the first floor is a meeting space with overhead projector for any kind of presentation. On the wall is a large photo of the original Scott County Courthouse. Notice how similar it looked to the first state capitol at Corydon. Scott County was founded in 1820. And here's a fun fact. Scott County was named after Charles Scott, Major General in George Washington's army. He was also the fourth governor of Kentucky. However, he never once set foot in Indiana, living his entire life in Virginia, then Kentucky. True story. He looks a little shifty, if you ask me. And speaking of the Revolutionary War, in this display case is a blanket, but not just any blanket. It kept a young Shadrach Pearson warm at Valley Forge. He was a soldier for George Washington. It's nearly 250 years old. An important part of local history is the infamous Reno Gang. They were responsible for a series of bank robberies across the Midwest. They also committed the first train robberies in U.S. history. Their fourth train robbery happened at Marshfield, March 22, 1868, northwest of Scottsburg. It resulted in a net of $96,000. That's $2 million in today's money. As the gang was captured and then lynched by an angry mob, the money was never found. Local legend says that it's buried somewhere in the county. You can learn more about the Reno Gang here at the museum. And here's a fun fact. A movie was made about the Reno Gang with Elvis Presley playing Clint Reno. The movie was called Love Me Tender. It's the only movie where he is not the lead actor, and it's the only one in which he dies. There's a history about the farm. And a section about early technologies, like this telephone switchboard. Before the days of computerized switching, when a person called someone else, that connection had to be made by a person at a desk like this. While we can now take hundreds of songs with us on our smartphones, or listen to online radio stations, This early radio and record player used to be the only way to go. While these early computers were amazing when they came out, a smartphone today that fits in your hand can do more than a warehouse full of them. As mentioned on the sign out front, this is where you can research your Scott County family history in the Genealogy Research Library. The library also has records going back to the 1800s, and many are microfilmed for your convenience. At this point, you can take the staircase up to the second floor or the elevator. Another big part of Scott County history is Morgan's Raid, and the museum has a Civil War exhibit that tells the story. Confederate General John Hunt Morgan and his men entered Indiana on July 9, 1863. It was one of the most northern attacks of the Civil War. Morgan's men fought the Indiana Home Guard at Corydon and thereafter made a run across the state, reaching the Scott County town of Vienna by July 10th. The general even stayed the night at the Beehive Hotel at Lexington, Indiana. The museum has some prized artifacts from this period, including an 1836 pistol left by one of Morgan's men, and a cavalry sword. The second floor continues with treasured possessions from Scott County, like this roller organ. Early radios. An early camera. And an early typewriter. It's amazing to think that today our music, radio, cameras, and typewriters have all been replaced by smartphones. But so far, they haven't replaced a sewing machine or a fun way to get around town. For a fact, technology has simplified many things we do and how we do them. People still go to the doctor when they don't feel well, but the medicine they get may be a lot different than it used to be. At one time, it was very common to be prescribed heroin if you had a cough. Times have changed, and with it, the things people thought they needed, found useful or of great value. But all these things make up the story and spirit of the people of Scott County. Over the years, the old house has gained a reputation for being haunted. In fact, so haunted that it was once named one of the most haunted places in the state of Indiana. Things have happened here. When the courtyard was renovated, it was clear that someone or something did not like the changes. Things were moved or put into disarray by the next morning. On the front stairs, a certain part often has an unexplained cold spot that's entirely different from the rest of the house. This is despite having central air in the entire house. People have heard what sounds like breaking glass, but no glass is ever found. And sometimes, caretakers have heard their own names said in the halls, but no one is there. On the second floor, an old baby chair has been known to move by itself on occasion. Also upstairs, people have seen a woman in an 1800s era dress sitting on the couch. She vanishes into thin air. One night, after the museum closed, it was raining pretty hard. A man knocked on the door and asked to come in, but he was unfamiliar to the staff, and something did not seem right about him. He was told that the museum was closed, and he walked away. Later, when the last two people at the museum talked about the strange man, they realized he was not wearing modern clothes, and despite the heavy rain, he was completely dry.
Okay, we're here at the Scott County Museum, and here in Scottsburg, Indiana. We do have ghosts here. They're not. There's no meanness. There's nothing mean about them. Everybody's nice and all. Because this used to be a poor asylum, or also called a poor farm, which they hated those names. But and the people that lived here were called inmates, and a lot of them have not left after they passed away. And they talk to us sometimes. They also play tricks on us. They make things sound like they're breaking, and you go look for something broken, and you will not find it. They teased my mother about when she was sweeping the floor. She picked up a piece of broom corn, and it didn't. She just picked it up out of the floor and still ran the sweeper. Then when she went to another room, ran the sweeper, she came back. The broom corn was back in that room in the middle of the floor. And she did that 2 or 3 times. Finally, she put it in the trunk of her car, which I would have never done. But she took it home to the trash, and she never had any more trouble with that. One day, she calls me up, and she said, "Jeannie, why didn't you tell me they're doing construction upstairs?" Excuse me. Because she was hearing all kinds of things falling and everything, and she goes upstairs, can't find a thing. And that was before the second floor was finished. But then my 7-year-old granddaughter was at the back door while I was working here one day, and she opens the door and says, "Grandma, somebody broke something in the gift shop, and nobody else is in the building." But there was nothing broken. They just tease people. I had a friend that was cooking in the kitchen, and I had to run to town to get some groceries for. And while I was gone, I guess they just really carried on teasing her. And she finally said, "Just come downstairs here and help me." So she didn't have any more trouble out of them, and nobody came to help her either until I got back. But just various little things like this. Somebody will holler your name. I've had them holler at me, call me, just holler Jeannie. And I turn around and I start looking to see who's talking to me. It's always a woman's voice. Another lady that worked here, Ruby, they'd call her name, and she would be going looking to see who was calling her, and there would be no one. We would think somebody'd be upstairs, so somebody'd be standing at one stairway and somebody at the other stairway, and somebody'd go up to see who was up there. There would be no one, but there'd be a chair sitting facing the outside window. Various little things like that. It's a lot of fun. It's interesting. And a lot of people nowadays are bringing electronic equipment and picking up other noises and things that I don't understand a thing about it. But if you are enjoying ghost tours, we invite you to come to Scott County, Indiana.
The Scott County Museum and Genealogical Society is a time capsule of Scott County history and provides great resources for those researching their family tree. It also offers those interested in the paranormal an opportunity to learn about the unexplained. Just one more interesting and unusual attraction in southern Indiana.